Good morning, everybody, and thank you for inviting me to come today. Is Justice Winfrey in the room? As I say, Dan, you could come on up here and join me, and we can make this twice as fun. I was elected by my colleagues to be Chief Justice starting July 1st, so I'm 37 days into my 3-year term, and I have felt like I've been drinking out of a fire hose this last month or so, because there's just a tremendous amount of new things that are there for me to do. Two of the things I had to do in July, I went to a conference of the Uniform Law Commission, which is an annual conference developing model laws for states to potentially adopt. And then because I was the new Chief Justice, I had to go to, and it turned out to be a good experience, the annual Conference of Chief Justices, where, interestingly enough, we had a couple of sessions on Native American law and Native American issues, which was just fascinating. We were required to read a book for a session called Law and Literature, and this was a book concerning Chief Standing Bear and the Ponca tribe and the travails that he and his people underwent as the United States government had extended through treaty and other promises lands that they were their traditional ancient lands that they first were promised that they could keep, and then that was changed up without their knowledge, and they were forcibly relocated down into what is today Oklahoma, and then other promises were made and promises were broken, and you're very familiar with this story or many other stories like it. And I thought it was just a really powerful way to start a Conference of Chief Justices, because we are concerned, just as last year's Chief Justice Dana Fabe spoke with you about a resolution that the Conference of Chief Justices had made to try to improve communication and collaboration and respect between state courts and tribal courts. I'm very pleased, and I'm also very humbled to be here to talk with you just for a few minutes about that. I came prepared with some prepared remarks. They would have taken about 15 to 20 minutes. Lisa said to me that I've got maybe 5 or 10, and everyone in the room said hallelujah. So I'm going off script here, and I just want to talk to you about 2 initiatives or programs in the Alaska court system that we're involved in with tribal courts throughout the state. The first is a program, if you will, or an initiative that's been going on for a number of years, and I'm talking about circle sentencing. And this is a situation essentially where state court judges have gone to meet with and to develop relationships with tribal judges and tribal communities, such that tribal members who are involved in the state criminal justice process are able to go back and essentially visit with the community, face-to-face with the community. Input is given in the sentencing process by the victim, by the community, so that the community members can face-to-face with the perpetrator essentially explain to him or her what it is that you've done and how it is that this affects us, your tribe. Or as the gentleman said very early this morning when we first started, and I thought that was very powerful, a tribe is essentially a community of families. And so when a perpetrator comes back to the community and has to face these people, he or she gets an opportunity to have a spiritual experience and a more meaningful experience than that person probably would have in the state court system. And you're going to hear quite a bit more about that when the panel discussion talks with you sometime later this morning. I do want to call out, though, our former presiding judge, Doug Blankenship, who serves here in the 4th Judicial District. He is instrumental a number of years ago in encouraging rural magistrate judges to travel to the villages in order to initiate this process. And Magistrate Judge Chris McLean, who is in the room with you today, and I think who is going to be speaking with you in a few minutes, embraced this call to action that Judge Blankenship had announced, and along with a team of other court and local justice officials, he's held circle sentencings in Galena, Huslia, Caltag, Mulatto, Ruby, and Tanana. And we are reaching out and inviting other tribes who are interested in participating in this, because it's got to be the tribal court's interest to do this. This isn't something that we can insist on. It's not something that we would insist on. But it's something that we welcome, and we're willing to work with the communities in order to try to allow this more traditional approach to restorative justice to happen. We've seen some really good results from this, and it's our strong belief that when we attempt to work more closely with rural communities, that we'll end up in situations where, number one, the perpetrator will get it, and if the perpetrator gets it, it's less likely that the perpetrator is going to go and commit another crime or get involved in other bad behavior again, and so that should reduce recidivism. The other initiative that I'm really excited to talk about is a joint project between the Knights tribe and Kenai in the Alaska court system. And a number of people have been working for months to develop this. This is essentially a dual jurisdictional project to develop a therapeutic court. We like to call it a wellness court. Judge Kim Sweet with the Knights tribe and Judge Anna Moran, a Superior Court judge in Kenai, along with some other judges and a lot of other people, have worked really hard to develop this. The model has been established by joint state and tribal courts in California and in Minnesota and in Oregon and in others. And again, the focus is using the wellness court model to work intensively with perpetrators that have alcohol problems or drug problems. They also usually have family problems. Oftentimes there are children involved that are children in need of aid, and they're in the China court process. Oftentimes these are people who have previous felony convictions, and they may very well have significant time hanging over their head. And the whole project focuses on getting these people out of the regular sentencing process and getting these people into a wellness court process whereby their needs are identified, their issues are identified, their strengths are identified, they get wraparound services. Essentially, you have a team approach where you have, in this case, you'll have the tribal court judge present, the state court judge present. These two judges collectively and collaboratively will work together to lead both the team meetings that happen before the actual therapeutic court session, and then the two judges will collectively and jointly preside over the hearing itself, which is going to be very interesting. I'm going to be very curious to watch how this grows and how it develops. It's going to be fascinating. The plan is that one hearing, and these will be weekly hearings. So 1 week the hearing will be held at the Knights Tribal Court, and the next week it will be held in the Kenai Court, and then it will rotate back and forth. To make this process work, the district attorney, who is bringing the charges against the individual, has to be involved, and they've got to be willing to be supportive of this. And by all indications, the district attorney is interested. The public defender has to be in agreement, because the public defender's job is to represent the best interest of his or her client. And sometimes public defenders are a little bit leery because, as part of some of these processes, it's required that the client make certain agreements. The idea is that if the participant, the person who is charged, who is in trouble, successfully makes it through this 18-month program, that at the end of this program, because as this particular program is designed, it's going to be pre-trial or predisposition. So in other words, you're not waiting till the person is convicted, and then in lieu of sentencing, you would end up putting a person in wellness court. Instead, this individual will go pre-trial to go through this therapeutic process. So the person has to be in agreement to do this. But if at the end of the day, at the end of this 18-month process, if this individual is successful, as I understand the way it's being structured, the charges will not be pursued and they'll be dropped. And that's just an amazing opportunity for people who succeed, and it gives them great incentive because, as you know, when people start creating or building on a criminal record, that has lots of collateral impacts on the rest of their life, employment, other opportunities that they get involved in. So I'm hoping and I'm expecting that this dual jurisdiction program between the Kenaitze Tribe and the Kenai Superior Court will roll out sometime in early 2016. Because, as I say, I've only been on the job as chief for the last 37 days, I've had a lot to learn and be presented with, and my plate, frankly, is full to overflowing. But when I learned about this project, I recognized immediately this is something that I want to be involved in. I'm 100% behind it. I'm going to support it. I just talked with Judge Moran yesterday, and I just talked briefly this morning with Judge Sweet, and I've told both of them with their permission that I would like very much to get involved in the final planning process of this, and then to do what I can do, which they may have lesser ability to do, to smooth the way. You know, I'll tell you frankly, if this program succeeds, and I believe it will, this could be a model for other communities, other tribal courts, and it's going to be a wonderful opportunity, and it will also take the promise of the state court system wanting to cooperate and collaborate with tribal courts far down the road. But you know and I know that there are some people out there that are going to be very uncomfortable with the idea of having a so-called shared jurisdiction court experience between state courts and tribal courts. And you know, unfortunately, as is the case everywhere in life, sometimes there are people out there that want to see good things and good people fail, and they put up stumbling blocks. You know, they may make it difficult. So I'm going to try to help navigate as much as I can the course that's being taken, so that we can identify and avoid those pitfalls, or when they come up and someone starts taking shots, you know, they should be shooting at me, because I can take the heat, and you know, I can probably give some cover and some support to this project. I'm thrilled by this, and I'm looking forward to meeting with tribal judges and tribal leaders throughout the state. One of the things that I put on my plate as the new chief is I want to go out and visit with Alaska court system courts more than probably chiefs in the past have been able to do. How I'm going to do this in terms of time management, I have no clue, but I've got a strong will, and I'm going to figure out a way to do it. But while I'm visiting these communities, and especially the more rural or remote communities, I do want to visit with tribal leadership and also tribal court judges and other people involved in the tribal justice system, and that's one of my highest priorities. My number one priority is figuring out how to fill a $9 million budget deficit as a result of the drop in oil prices, and I'm going to see if I can buttonhole good friends in the room to talk about that a little bit later. Good morning, Senator, and we'll see where we go. I really do appreciate your giving me the opportunity to speak here. Justice Winfrey was quite willing and happy to come and speak. I had been invited to come when I became chief, and I asked him to stand by to do it because, as I mentioned, I've been going to a couple of these other conferences, and I wasn't sure I would have the time, but this is important, and so I asked Dan, my good friend, to stand down and give me the opportunity to come and get to meet you. I'm going to be here, if Lisa will allow me, for the rest of the morning, and so if we get a chance to visit, please come up and let me know who you are and what I can do to help. Thank you for your time. You're very gracious, and I appreciate it. Good day.